What is going on, guys? So the iPhone 12 and the 12 mini now are at a fairly reasonable price on Flipkart and Amazon. Especially after the iPhone 13's launch, the prices of the iPhone 12 and 12 mini have dropped considerably, and now it makes them a really considerable deal, I would say. Because not to forget, they were just last year's flagship devices. And I have used the iPhone 12 mini for a couple of months. Then also, now since the last 8 months, I have been using the iPhone 12 regular as my daily driver. So this is my full long-term review of the iPhone 12, and I'll also be comparing it with the iPhone 12 mini. So if you have the question that should you go for the iPhone 12 mini or the regular 12 now in the late 2021 or even in 2022, then this video would help you. We will touch base on all the points, and if you want to use the timestamps, you can use it below the chapters which I'll be mentioning. So based on your preferences, you can see that particular topic. Now without wasting any further time, let's get started. So the first thing about the iPhone 12 that I want to mention is about the design. And when it comes to design, the feel of it. When I'm indoors, I don't use it with the cover, because the thing is that just feeling this device in your hand feels premium. It has that weight to it, it has that particular vibe and feel to it that actually gives you that premium feel. The weight of this device is also really optimum, I would say. It is not too heavy, not too light. Yes, sometimes it does feel heavy when you're watching some content for a long period of time, but it's not as heavy as those big phones get, especially the Pro Max ones. I'm talking about the squared edge design. The iPhone 12 came with a redesigned structure with the squared edges that went back to the iPhone 5 design. And honestly, in the beginning, I did feel that the squared edges were a bit jarring, and till today I do feel it sometimes. They are a bit jarring, but they do give good grip to your hands if you are holding your phone without a cover. Also, if you're using your phone with the cover, these squared edges actually make, when you put on a cover, the edges become a bit soft and rounded, especially if you're using a rubber case. And this gives a really good grip when you're holding the phone in your hands. So I would say, rather than having the entirely rounded edges which were there in the older iPhone models, I think the squared edges with a rubber case on them really gives a good combo with good grip and a good feel as well. Now coming to the durability of this device, I have dropped it a couple of times without the case on it, and it was fine. Well, it was not a major drop, I would say, but still it showed its toughness. But yes, there is one thing to keep in mind, is that you should always put the screen protector, because the screen gets scratched really easily. So that's why I have never removed the screen protector from day one. Now coming to the Face ID, I did notice in many other reviews that the Face ID hasn't been improved from the last generations, but I think it has. Even at a tilted angle, it works really well. It is smooth and it works almost every time. And now when they added the feature that with your Apple Watch, you can unlock your phone even while wearing your mask, that is a really good thing, I would say. That now getting into your phone isn't difficult at all, and Face ID on this phone is a breeze. It's also very accurate to say, and if you're having your eyes closed or if you're looking away, then also it does not unlock. It detects it really well, I would say. Now let's talk about the screen quality. First of all, regarding the colors are not that punchy. They are true tone colors, but media consumption on them is really immersive and it really gives a good feel. And all in all, I would say it's an all-rounder display. It is not as punchy, but it's not even bland or anything. Now when it comes to the brightness, especially outdoors, the brightness is not that great, and the auto brightness on my phone somehow does not kick in every time, and I have to do it manually, but still it does not get that bright in outdoor conditions. So if you have a lot of sunlight and direct sunlight on your phone screen, then it will be a bit difficult to view your phone screen and content on it. Now when I bought this phone, I switched from a 120Hz display to the 60Hz display of this iPhone 12. And at first I did notice it, but after a couple of months I got used to this, and I feel that this phone is as smooth as it can be. So I really do not feel, when I'm using this phone as my daily driver, I really do not feel the need to switch to a higher refresh rate, and I have gotten pretty much used to this display now. Now talking about battery life, the battery life in the initial 6 months of this device was stellar. I could easily rely on this device's battery. It lasted me up until the next morning, And sometimes I even forgot to carry my charger and I could get away with it. The battery health also, I would say, after all these months has still stayed to 100% even after always using a fast charger. But one thing I would like to mention is that after the iOS 15.1 update, the battery life has dropped down a bit. And it's not that reliable as it used to be before. But I think this can be solved with future software updates, and hopefully by the subsequent updates, the battery life should get as good as it was before. But yeah, normal day-to-day activities, checking photos, videos, even playing games, watching content. I mean, it's a normal battery. It's not great. It's not bad. So if you charge in the morning, if you just get on with your day by taking a couple of photos, by watching some content for an hour or so, and even on 4G data, then it will still last you through the day. And by night, you can get about 20% or 25% or so. So yeah, on heavy usage, you do have to charge it even at night sometimes, because I did notice that if I was editing videos or recording long videos like this one on this phone, then yeah, the battery does take a hit and you do have to charge it at night. But still, there's nothing to complain of regarding the battery size that it is. And if you have a really like a long battery life requirement, then the Pro Max is your only choice. Next thing is about the speakers. The speakers are pretty loud. The bass is good. The sound quality is really immersive, and it does not distort at all, even at the highest volume. But the only thing is that the speaker's placement, when it's at the bottom, and if you're holding your phone like this on a surface or so, then the speaker gets blocked and you lose the audio. So that is just one thing, that the speaker isn't like distributed well. And just from the one side, if you just block it, it's gone. But the audio quality overall is really good. The spatial audio also really works, and it does give that 3D surround sound effect. Talking about call quality and reception, I would say that the call quality and reception on this phone has been consistent. The antennas on this phone, I would say, are really better than the previous generations. There are some phones out there which do have better antennas than this one, and they perform much better when it comes to call quality and the reception, even in the low coverage areas. But yeah, this is nothing bad, and at most places where I have medium or low coverage, then also this phone does give me a good experience. And talking about the performance, now this is one of the main reasons why people even go for iPhones, is because of the consistent performance. And I have been noticing this in my usage around all these months. The performance has stayed top notch, and I can record and edit videos, 4K videos, 4K 60 videos as well on the go. And the rendering times are really respectable. Yes, with some high-end games, I did notice some stutters and lags sometimes. I'm not sure whether this is the software or what kind of an issue this is. Is it the heating issue? Because there's not much of a heat up on the back panel. Sometimes there is, but not most of the time. But still, some games do stutter and lag, and there are some frame drops here and there. Also, there is one more thing to notice, is that when recording HDR10 videos, I did notice that it stutters sometimes. And even if you're panning the video, there are some frame drops, and that is not just on the viewfinder, but it also reflects in the recorded video. There are frame drops and stutters. But apart from that, if you're not playing a lot of games and if you don't record videos on HDR10, then the experience is really smooth. Like even editing 4K 60 videos or even videos on HDR10, the phone does not stutter much. The only two issues that I mentioned were with the high-end games, some frame drops and some frame drops while recording HDR10 videos. But while editing videos, it's a smooth breeze experience. Now, the next thing is about the camera. Now people go for iPhones mainly because of the cameras, because the camera performance is consistent, more so compared to any other flagship phones. And it's the same with this iPhone 12. The photos that come out of this phone are amazing. They capture a lot of details, and especially the photos that come out of the box are not that impressive, but they have captured a lot of details and everything. And once you start to edit them, after editing, you can bring up all those shadows and all those details that get stuck behind. Whereas if you do that kind of an editing on some other phone, then you realize that it had not captured those details at all, and the photo gets messed up. But that does not happen on the iPhones. There were photos in very low light situations that I had taken, and out of the box they seem like very dark and not postable photos. But when I actually edited those photos, after editing I could bring up the details, and this really surprised me that it had captured all those details at the first place. So when it comes to stills, the photos are really amazing and consistent and reliable also. But when it comes to videos, see, iPhones have always excelled at videos, and this one is no exception. With even 4K 30 or 4K 60 FPS, the videos are really amazing, smooth, stutter-free, and also have a lot of details. And the focus is also, focus locks on really well with the object. With whatever object you put in front, or even if you remove it, the focus shifting also happens really smoothly, as it happens with all the other iPhones. But the only issue with the video of this phone is HDR10. And this is something that I have noticed in low light. So in ample of light situations, HDR10 works really well. It captures a lot of details, and like it's the best video quality that I have ever seen on any smartphone camera. But the issue is with low light and in indoor conditions, if you use HDR10, it does something to bring up the details, and in that way it actually puts a lot of noise in the video, and this makes the video look a lot shabby and does not look crisp at all. And first I thought it was an issue with my camera sensors, so I showed it in two Apple service centers nearby, and they also noticed the same thing, and they thought the issue was with the sensor and it would need to get replaced. But then at one Apple service center, what they did was they compared with another iPhone 12 that they had, and it was the same issue in that camera as well. So this is something that is there in many models. If you also are using an iPhone 12 and face this issue, then let me know. I have raised this with Apple long back, and they told me that it would be addressed. They are considering this. It would be addressed in some future software update, but I don't see it yet, and I have now accepted to turn off the HDR10 from now onwards. But apart from that, I shoot a lot of videos on this phone. All my YouTube videos, Instagram videos, all are taken on this iPhone 12. The next point is the biggest question of this year probably, whether you should go for the 12 mini or the 12 regular, because there is a difference of 10,000 rupees between them. And the reason that people even think about the 12 mini is that they want a compact phone, and they like a compact phone, and they are not that heavy users that would require a big screen and a big battery or so. But see, I've always been telling this to everyone who have been commenting and asking me on my videos, that if you can spend a little extra, then do go for the iPhone 12, especially if you are going to be a long-term user. Because the mini, and as we have seen now 1 year later, many users are reporting that their battery health has dropped to 92%, which is really bad. I mean, already the battery capacity was really less, and now it dropped by 8%. So this is not a good thing with the iPhone 12 mini. So the battery, even though it isn't bad, it will, with light usage, it will get you through the day and even through the next day. You can watch my battery reviews on the iPhone 12 mini on my channel. But it does not give that much confidence in its battery life, especially if you start traveling or if you go out and use it on cellular network. Also, when it comes to the screen size is enough for most daily activities. But see, the thing is that if you record a lot of videos, or if you record Instagram videos, Instagram reels or so, and if you edit them on your phone itself, let me tell you, the icons on the screen can appear really small, especially if you're editing videos on LumaFusion. The icons buttons are really tiny, and the screen is too cramped. The UI is too cramped, and it does lead to some accidental touches as well, and also the experience is not that enjoyable as it would be on the iPhone 12. Also, when you're watching content on the iPhone 12 mini screen, even though it's good, the colors are good, but because of the screen size, just imagine, because I have faced this, and that this is one of the reasons that is why I went away from the 12 mini. That whatever content you watch, the text in the content, the faces, everything is small. And even though it's not like it's not visible, but it does take away the immersive experience that you would get just by spending a little extra on the regular 12. The regular 12 is perfect in screen size, I would say. So in my opinion, do go for the iPhone 12 regular, because see, some people have also asked me in the comment section that their usage is not that heavy. They don't take photos, they don't play games. So with that light usage, should they go for the iPhone 12 mini? Well, the answer is definitely they can now, but do consider this. I mean, your usage might not stay forever what you are doing now. For example, if you don't take photos, does not mean that 1 year later you won't be interested to take any photos or videos. If you travel, if you want to take, you would take it. And who knows, like if you're not gaming today, a year later, probably you might develop interest in gaming. For that reason, you should not have to buy another phone for that matter, or so that's why what I mean to say is that while buying a new phone, do consider its capacity of doing things. And the iPhone 12, I think, sits perfectly where it's not that perfect also, but it's amazing. It's not nowhere near bad. So go for the iPhone 12 regular instead of the 12 mini. But yeah, if you're a short-term user, like if you use your phone for a year or so, or even 1.5 to 2 years, and you know that your usage isn't that heavy, so, and mostly if you stay indoors mostly, then the iPhone 12 mini is also a good option. It's not a bad phone at all. It has the same processor, the same cameras, the same screen, same everything, just a smaller battery and a smaller compact size. So the iPhone 12 mini in that respect is a good option for those people. Now the conclusion is that you might have already noticed by now I have been ranting about the iPhone 12. Especially first I switched from Android to iOS, and in that transition I did feel like the iPhone 12 was a bit behind when it comes to features. But slowly, when I actually started seeing that the returns that it's giving me, the performance, the its ability to consistently perform day-to-day activities without any stutters, without any lags, without any issues, amazing photos and videos, all these things have really given me confidence on this device, and I think it's a good choice even in late 2021 or even in 2022. Sure, you might miss out on some of the latest features that iPhone 13 and even probably the 14 next year might have. But see, what Apple does is they do incremental upgrades. So there are not, it's highly unlikely that there would be a huge difference between the next year's models as well. So do go for the iPhone 12 if your budget fits it, if you're interested in it, if you're looking to buy one, and then it's a really good choice even now. Thank you for watching this video. Do subscribe and like this video if you like the content and the info that I have been sharing. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.